Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm bringing you a couple different lunch items. I have some barbecue chicken roll-ups and some chicken meal prep with some roasted veggies. And then for some breakfast ideas, I'm doing a meal prep bowl that I'll put an egg on. And then I'm also doing some different breakfast sandwiches than I've done before. One thing that I highly recommend when you're meal prepping is to first get all your chopping done that you need to get done, or if you need to tear some meat off of a rotisserie chicken, whatever you need to do, get all that done first, all the components of your meal prep. That way it's just easy to throw together the rest of the way. This meal prep took me about an hour and a half, and I think it's because I took the first 30 minutes to get everything chopped up. And in this particular day, I did have a lot of chopping to do. So I have some bell peppers. I'm using actually bell peppers for my breakfast prep and also for one of my lunch preps. And then I also need a bunch of peppers for a unstuffed pepper bowl that I'll be doing for dinner one day this week. So I thought while I have all the veggies out, I might as well just chop them all up. So that's another tip. While you're meal prepping, again, it doesn't take that much longer to get the stuff done that you need to get done. This first pepper that I'm chopping up for my breakfast prep. So I want to make it a little bit chunkier than the other peppers. You'll see I want them a little bit finer. So this one will be with some sausage and some sweet potatoes. So I'm keeping this a little bit chunkier. And then the other bell peppers I'll be using, like I said, for a breakfast prep that you'll see here just a second. It's going to go in some eggs, so I want it a little bit finer. And then the other one will be for an unstuffed pepper bowl that you'll see later in the week for dinner one day. Those ones I want a little bit finer. So I actually have this little tool that I think I got it on Amazon. I'm not positive. Somebody may have sent it to me. I feel really terrible for not remembering, but I've had it for a long time. Just haven't used it in a long time. And I just thought to get like a really fine chop, I thought it would work really well. If I did get off of Amazon, I will link it down below. But it does work really well. It's just like a hand one though. And I do have another one that you put everything in, it dices it up really finely, but I don't like that one as well because there's so many components to it and you have to wash all the little things and it's hard to get the peppers out of it. I don't know. To me, it works really well, but it's just not worth all the hassle. So these ones are going to be for my eggs that go on my breakfast sandwiches, and then the rest of them I'm just going to go ahead and chop up for the stuffed pepper bowls that I'll be making. Unstuffed, that's what they're called, unstuffed pepper bowls. But yeah, you can see this thing works really well. I mean, it makes a really nice little finely diced thing. Now, I did not notice it worked as well as onions. I couldn't remember if I used it with onions before, and so I did try to use it with an onion, but it did not work quite as well with an onion. Now, you guys know I do prefer to buy the frozen onions, but red onions I do like to have fresh. And for one of the recipes that I'm making today, I want to have red onion with it because it just sounded really good. Plus, I like to throw red onions on my salads too. I am going to be making some mashed cauliflower to go with one of my lunch meal prep bowls. So I'm going to go ahead and get this head of cauliflower chopped up. I don't know if there's a better way to chop up cauliflower. This one, since I know I'm mashing it, I'm not as worried about getting it cut up into little florets, but I have no idea how people do that to make it in these perfect little florets. No idea. Anyway, I'm just getting mine roughly chopped up because we're going to be steaming this, and I just want to get it all chopped up to where it'll steam a little bit quicker. I want to use some green beans to go along with one of my lunch preps. I'm going to put these on a sheet pan and roast these up along with some broccoli that I have in the freezer that I'm actually just kind of thawing out a little bit on the counter before they go into the oven to roast up with my chicken. And then I'm also going to be using sweet potatoes for two of my recipes this morning. I'll be using it for a breakfast prep and also to go along with that same lunch prep. Sweet potatoes, I like to dice up pretty finely when I am roasting them. That way they don't take as long to roast up. Normally, sweet potatoes take quite a long time to roast up, and a lot of times you want to start roasting those first before you roast the rest of your ingredients, especially with chicken. But because I actually cut them up so finely, my chicken and my sweet potatoes do cook along the same amount of time. And the last thing I'm going to prep as far as getting this beginning part of my prep done is going to be cut up some of these sausages. these are going to be for a breakfast prep. So what I'll be doing is roasting this up with some peppers and the sweet potatoes, and then the day I have them for breakfast, I'm going to make an egg, and like an over easy egg or a poached egg, and then I will just put that on top, and so it's kind of like just a breakfast bowl. I don't think I've ever used these sausages before. They're from Alfresco, the sweet apple. I feel like, actually, you know what? Yes, I have, a long, long time ago. But they are really good. I actually tasted one after I got done roasting them, and they have a nice apple flavor. So highly recommend these. These actually, the fresh ones are lower in calories and also lower in like the sodium than the already cooked ones. So you can buy these same exact ones, but they're like fully cooked. And those ones, like I said, those ones are higher calories and they have more sodium in them. So these fresh ones were a lot better, and they actually were the same price. So I didn't really see much difference. I think it's just because those other ones are fully cooked and these ones need to be cooked. But anyway, so what I'm doing here is I'm dicing two of them. I'm dicing up super finely because those are going to go into the breakfast sandwich and the eggs that I'll be making for them. I told you I'm doing a little bit of a different breakfast sandwich than I've ever done before. And then I'll be doing 4 of the other sausages. I have another package of these sausages. I'll be doing 4 of them, just cutting them up into little circulars to go with my breakfast bowls. The last part of my prepping before prepping is going to be take this rotisserie chicken and take all the meat off of the bone. So I'll be using this for a lunch prep. I do like to use the rotisserie chicken hack as often as I can, especially when I'm using it for meal prep, just because it's just so much easier than having to poach your chicken ahead of time. Now that's everything. So that's all of my prep before the prep. So you guys see now all my components are ready to go. This took 30 minutes to get all of this part done. And this is the bulk of your prepping, is getting this part done. So now that this is done, the rest of my stuff is going to get done so much quicker. It's just going to flow. I don't have to stop and chop anything. It's going to be fabulous. I have these 2 really huge thin sliced chicken breasts that I'm going to marinate in this smoky applewood marinade mix. I'm not going to use any oil. I'm just going to put them in there with just some water and just kind of let them marinate. And then this will be going on a sheet pan. I've made different variations of this type of meal prep before. That's why this is just, you can make this something new every week. You can change up the vegetables, you can change up how you do your chicken. I think the last time I did this in a meal prep, I did like a spicy chicken. So you can do anything. But like I said, I just found this marinated in there and I thought I would just go ahead and do this. Look how big those chicken breasts are, you guys. Yeah, it's definitely going to make 4, this will make 4 meal preps. So I'm just going to put it in the middle. Sometimes I do so many veggies that I have to do 2 different sheet pans for my veggies and my chicken, but this time it worked out really well. So I have the green beans that I chopped up and the broccoli that I had thawed out. It was frozen broccoli. I just thawed it out. I have a ton of broccoli in my freezer I need to use up, so you'll be seeing a lot of broccoli in my meals this week. I think I have like 1 dinner that has broccoli, and then this lunch has broccoli. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that all around there. And because these are so thin sliced chicken breasts, I can kind of pile up the veggies because the chicken will cook pretty thin and the veggies will cook nice. And then you can see my sweet potatoes are cut up pretty finely. Now I'm going to add on some onion salt onto this and some pepper as well. And then I am going to sprinkle a little bit of avocado oil on top of the veggies just to kind of get a nice little little bit of flavor and also just a little bit of a brownness to it. I have my oven preheated to 425, but I'm not going to put this in yet. I'm going to go ahead and get my breakfast sheet pan meal ready to go, and those will cook together, and then my next 2 things will cook together. So for one of my breakfasts this week, I want to do a bowl with, it'll have the sausage, it's going to have some pepper, some sweet potato, and then I will make like a poached egg or an over easy egg to go on top, and it'll just be kind of a nice little breakfast bowl with that, yummy yolky egg. I don't know. I love these kind of bowls. Sometimes I throw spinach in there. I do actually have some baby kale that I can throw in there to add a little bit of freshness on the day that I have it for breakfast. So I'm just going to put these on my sheet pan. Again, I will sprinkle the veggies a little bit with a little bit of avocado oil and some onion salt, and then these will go into the oven with the other meal prep, and they will cook for about, I'm going to start out with 20 minutes to see how everything looks. And I think I ended up doing about 25 minutes for both of them. I decided to try a new breakfast sandwich recipe. I was getting a little bit tired of my usual one. Well, I love it. I wasn't really getting tired of it. I just wanted to try something new. So in this one, I'm going to be doing whole eggs and adding just a little bit of egg whites to it just to kind of beef up the protein a little bit. And then I will be adding my protein source, my other protein source, like my meat source, in with the eggs, and then also some veggies in there. So I'm doing half of the recipe that I would link down below. So the one below actually makes 12 breakfast sandwiches, but I only wanted to make 6. So you'll see that's the difference in what you're seeing here. So I just need to have 6 whole eggs. And again, I'm going to throw just some egg whites in there. You're going to need some sort of sausages. So I'm using those sweet apple from Alfresco chicken sausages you saw me cut up earlier. Then we also will be adding in some kale to this. I'm just using the baby kale. That's all my store had. So I'll be chopping that up a little bit and putting that in there. And then of course we'll do salt and pepper. And then I also chopped up that bell pepper earlier in this video, and I'll be putting some of that orange bell pepper in there. And then we will cook them in my usual pan that I will have linked down below because I get a lot of questions about that. I don't know if the same one is on Amazon. I've had it for like 2 years now, almost 3. But I will try to find something similar, but because I don't think that same pan is available. But I'm going to cook those at 375 for about 9 to 10 minutes, just until they are nice and cooked through. And then those will go on. I'll put 2 of those little circles on my breakfast sandwiches. My sheet pan meal prep meals are almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting this cauliflower steamed because I'll be making some mashed cauliflower to go along with the one meal prep for my lunches with the chicken and sweet potatoes and veggies. So I'm just going to put my head of cauliflower I cut up. I have about a cup of water in the bottom of the steamer basket, which I got this at Walmart, super cheap. And I'll just bring it to a boil, put the lid on there, and steam the cauliflower until it is nice and tender. Next up, we're going to make our barbecue chicken roll up. So I'm using the base of this is going to be the 2-ingredient dough. My friend Krista told me about another 2-ingredient dough that uses yeast. I thought I had some yeast that was fresh. I did have some yeast, but it expired back in 2012. Definitely not fresh. So I did not want to risk using it because I figured it probably would not be very active anyway. So for the base of this, I'm just using 2 cups of self-rising flour and 2 cups of plain non-fat Greek yogurt from Faye. Now I always keep out about a half of a cup of the flour that I'll use on my surface when I roll it out. So in my bowl here, I actually only put in 1.5 cups of the flour because when you add in more flour for your working surface, it does add more flour to it, which adds more calories, and you're really not getting a very good count of your calories. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this rolled out, and then we will be adding on some of the Sweet Baby Ray's sugar-free barbecue sauce. I really like this stuff. And then we'll be adding on some of this reduced fat mozzarella cheese. So I did a half of a cup of the barbecue sauce and a full cup of the mozzarella cheese for both of these together. So each of these, I'm doing 2 different rolls. I cut it in half because I was having a little bit of trouble getting it all rolled out in one big rectangle. So we're just going to be doing it. I split the dough into 2 different pieces, spreading one out, adding in a 1/4 cup of this barbecue sauce, and then the other one I'll do a 1/4 cup. And then we'll be adding on some of that rotisserie chicken that I already shredded up earlier in this video. Again, since I did everything at the beginning of this video, everything is just, or beginning of this meal prep and the video, everything just comes together so quickly. So I'm adding the cheese on there, some of the rotisserie chicken. We'll be adding on some of these bacon bits, which have been in my refrigerator for a while. So it's nice to just be able to use these up and throw them on top. And then we'll be rolling up the dough and then cutting them into equal pieces. So this actually made 14 individual pieces. So it was 7 servings because I'm doing 2 pieces per serving. And then this will go into a 375-degree oven for about 25 minutes. I'm going to check it after about 20 and see how it looks. But I'm just thinking about 20 to 25 minutes until the rolls are nice and toasty and brown, and the cheese is all melted because everything is cooked except for the dough on this. But let's go. Oh, I also added in some red onion as well because I feel like red onion goes really well.
I'm somewhere in the middle, try to find myself again, but life is one big riddle of the future and what's been. Guess it's the way it goes, and I will never know why you let me go. Look to the left, look to the right, nothing can stop me in the night, like I am leaving all the bad
I know I've shown many times how I make my cauliflower mash. This is my favorite way to make it. I love to use my big blender cup. I hate my food processor, but that is another way you can do it. I just feel like food processors are a pain. They're big. They have so many parts. It's a pain to clean. I don't know. I just hate mine. So I like to use my big blender smoothie cup. So I'm going to go ahead and put all that cauliflower that I steamed until it was almost falling apart. I probably steamed it just a little bit too much, but you know, I was doing a lot of prep. So to that, I'm going to add in some fat-free sour cream. You can also use plain non-fat Greek yogurt. You can use full-fat yogurt. This is really adaptable to anything. The sour cream I need to use up, so I'm putting that in there with some onion salt and some minced garlic. I don't really measure out the minced garlic, but as far as the sour cream, I just added in 2 tablespoons of the sour cream. It's really going to depend on how much you're making, but it just kind of adds a nice creamy element to it. Sometimes I add mayo as well. I'm going to do a splash of this creamy cashew milk. I actually did too much. I put more than just a splash, so mine came out a little bit runny. But yes, you can make this adaptable to keto, low carb, whatever you want to do. So you can use full fat mayo, full fat sour cream, full fat yogurt, whatever you want to do, and you just blend it up, and there you have it. There is my sheet pan for my lunches out of the oven. Doesn't that look amazing? My eggs are done as well, so those are ready to make breakfast sandwiches out of. Those also look good. Here is my breakfast sheet pan meal prep. So this I'll just be storing in one container. You'll see that here in just a second. And then here are the barbecue chicken roll-ups. Oh my gosh, these turned out amazing. So in my meal prep containers, I'm just going to add in some of that cauliflower mash. You're going to see again, came out really runny, but that's okay. It's going to be in my refrigerator all week. It'll get nice and a little bit more solid. So I'm just going to put it equal between all 4 of them, as equal as I can get, between all 4 of my meal prep containers here. And then we will be adding on the chicken, which I did slice up those 2 chicken breasts into 4 equal servings here. So I'm just going to put the chicken on top of the cauliflower mash. I love, it's like, it reminds me of like, for me, when I used to eat like chicken and mashed potatoes, I used to always love to like dip my pieces of chicken in with my mashed potatoes. Let me know if you guys do that. But that's what kind of this reminds me of, is doing that kind of thing. So that's why I put it on top of my mashed cauliflower. And then we'll just be splitting up the veggies. So I have the sweet potatoes, and then we have the green beans, and the broccoli will go in here as well. And here are my finished meal prep containers for one of my lunch options this week. And now for the breakfast, like I don't want to have a bunch of containers in my refrigerator. So the lunches sometimes, just in case I need to grab and go, usually grab and go breakfast, but I just wanted to do my lunches in those pretty meal prep containers, you know, for pictures and aesthetic. It just looked really nice. But for my breakfast meal prep, I'm just going to go ahead and put everything in this big meal prep container. This is a large glass rectangular meal prep container that I have. I'm just gonna put everything in there, and then the day I have it for breakfast, I'll just scoop out what I want, and then I'm gonna make a either poached or fried egg and put that on top. And here is that finished meal prep container. So there I go. There is breakfast number 1. Breakfast number 2, of course, is going to be the breakfast sandwiches. So I have my eggs here. I have the 2% American cheese. Yes, I know not the best cheese, but I love it on breakfast sandwiches. I'm using these sandwich thins from Oro Wheat. They're the multi-grain. Now, normally, I always wrap them. So I have foil, I have parchment paper, and I'm just going to wrap it in the foil and then also the parchment paper. Then I throw them in my air fryer, and it makes them nice and crispy and toasty. If you take anything from this video at all, it is to prep before you prep. Get all your stuff out. Get all that chopping and all that stuff done ahead of time, because I really think that it really cuts down on the time that it takes to meal prep. Let me know if you guys are prepping and what you are prepping, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.